This video is about a walk around of my 1956 Glasspar Avalon, and I'll talk a little bit about the boat. This is it. I spent a couple of years remodeling it. It is somewhat modified from the original. When I first got it, it was just a shell. It was just a hull on the deck and had lots of holes in it, so I pretty much made it my own. I tried to keep it somewhat original, at least keep that flavor of the original, but obviously it has some things that are different. Take a look at the interior here. So the seats are styled like the original. There were none in the boat when I got it. The original seat was a full bench seat with a split back seat. And I felt that a walk-through was much more useful. So I built it as two separate seats. I did add these basically storage units here, storage boxes here later. The purpose was to put my 3-gallon fuel tanks, one on each side. Back here you can see that I have a 6-gallon tank, and there is room, and I have fit 3 gallons back here too, but it's pretty cramped. And I felt the weight distribution was better if I had them up forward, so that's what these are. Let me go in. So these are seats now, and they have, you can put a 3-gallon tank in each one. This one's actually connected. I also have this storage box. This contains pretty much everything that you'd find loose in a regular boat. It's really, we put life jackets in here, the fenders, anchor and rode, sponges, there's some fire extinguisher tools, some extra water, stuff like that. So it's storage really, and keeps things out of the way. Fuel system, I do have a water separator, fuel filter, and valving with 3 hoses. I really only use like 2 at a time, but I can just switch hoses and change the fuel tanks. Now I do have this Evinrude electric box this was from this boat originally. I just repurposed it as a connection point for all my electrics back here. I have put in little steps on the side here to get in and out easier. I also added these rod holders on both sides, which hold paddles and the ladder. In the cockpit, at the helm up here, see, I have a selection of instruments. They're not particularly one brand or anything. They were pretty much an eclectic collection, some of it off eBay. Like this is from the original boat, this is from eBay, and that's from another old boat of mine. And this is a fathometer that I bought new. So the tack is another old part from another boat, but this is it's a GPS speedometer. Then I built this wooden dash cover because there's a bunch of holes in the dash and it was pretty broke up. So I used that for decoration and to give me a nice clean look here. The original Avalon metal nameplate that was on here, basically when I took it off, it just crumbled all apart. So I made up a sticker, and I got this from a friend of mine, Bill Davis, thank you. And then I got a kind of a theme going here for early vintage engines, particularly Johnson and Evinrude's. that the kind of engine I used to have back in the day. So this is from a Johnson. Got this Johnson sticker on here, and as I'll show you, front of my storage box has a bunch of decorative items that really are from Johnson and Evinrude. We're also a part of the Golden State Classics Boat Club. That's what that is. Just to continue the theme a little farther, I put these little signs up for the Johnson Seahorse and the Evinrude over here on this side. Just decoration. Now let me talk about the windshield a bit. The windshield is a copy of the original. This boat did not have a windshield when I got it, or ever. And I like the old goggle-eyed windshield, the fiberglass frame windshield that was first on this boat. So I built this to resemble that. So this windshield is fiberglass over plywood, plexiglass windows. Now what's different about this from the Glasspar original one is it's taller. And to do that, the reason I did that is because I'm a pretty tall guy. When I'm sitting in the seat, the original windshield, which is about here, my head would stick up above the windshield. I didn't like that. So I made this one tall enough so that it clears my head. And it works quite well with that. Let me talk a little about the rub rail and the hardware. Originally these boats had a neoprene rub rail. It's rather wide and thick. It was the first rub rail that neoprene rub rail that Glasspar ever used. And I think it was rather large for the purpose. Today replacing that is quite expensive. And it's not easy to install. It's only got, the only mounting points mechanical are at the bow, under this bow handle, and at the stern there are two clamps also, these little clamshell things. The rest of the rub rail is glued on, and I really felt I didn't want to deal with that. So I got this is an aluminum anodized material. It's a U-channel that is actually used for screen doors and showers. And I frankly think it works just fine. It's a lot cheaper too. This is the original style light in the original place. This is not the original light. That one had just gone well beyond recovery. This one I bought used on eBay, and it's still in good shape, but it's still quite old. This is not original. The boat did not have one here, and this is from a Chris Craft of the same era, and I just thought it looked cool. These are brass chocks here, line chocks. That's original with the boat. These are the original cleats with it there. I thought they were a little small, but they're good for holding fenders off. And then I replaced them with two. These are vintage, same era, but they're not original to the boat. Now, the original stern on Glasspar's boat was curved. It was a full-height transom like this, and it's curved. They put the engine on a bracket. Now I tried to recreate that in doing it. That's why this is here. The original bracket, and I'll show you a picture of it. I did not see that at the time I made this, so I was going by guesswork here. But the idea is to recreate something like the original. After a few of them have been produced, probably for cost-saving reasons, they got rid of the bracket and mounted the engine directly on the transom. So most of the boats of this era, that is the way they were made. This one had the cutout but I used this piece to fill in the hole and then built the bracket. The engine I'm using is a Honda 40 horsepower 4-stroke. That would have been an appropriate motor for the time. It was built actually for 25 horsepower or 25 horsepower, so this is right in the right range. I do have an auxiliary bracket for mounting an auxiliary engine, but these, I can't see it too well, but this is the original emblem that was on the boat back in the day. It's a reproduction. It's a reproduction of the original emblem. The hull is 15 feet 10 inches long. Glasspar calls it a 16-footer. All of the Avalons built by Glasspar are 15 foot 10 inch. The one that is not was the last model built by Larson, which is only 15 feet. This particular style of hull was the original, actually first runabout that Bill Tritt designed, with this deep 4-foot. This boat was used up. This hull was used up until 1960. In '61, then they had a newly designed, much sleeker design. But this hull was still used in Tacoma later, and then later the Gold Cup. That's my Avalon. Hope you like this video. Thank you.